Good morning. I'm in Svalbard and I thought I'd come on the page and tell you where I am and a bit about it, but I need to probably put my glove on just a second. But I know it's very early there because it's only about 8:15 here, I think, so it must be 7:15 there, so sorry if I've interrupted your Saturday morning. But I'm on an archipelago called Svalbard on the island of Spitsbergen and in the town of Longyearbyen, which is 78 degrees north, which I don't know much about, but it's a long way north. It's very close to, I think, 600 miles from the North Pole, which is pretty cool. And some of you have been following my journey on my personal page, but I thought today I'd come on Ashdown Jones for anybody who doesn't know me and who's interested in where I am. So it's north of Norway by about 1,000 miles. I've been here for a few days. I'm writing a book on team building, and 2 days ago I went dog sledding, and there was a lot of lessons there to learn about team building, so that's going in the book. But this is where I am. I'm going to just turn you around so you can see. So this morning. There's only about 3 weeks of daylight left now until it goes forever. Well, for the winter, for about 100 days. There's all the beautiful islands that surround this gorgeous little town. There's a school. In fact, that might be the kindergarten. And what is really interesting, I think, is the number of skidoos. These things here, it's basically a motorbike on skis, and there's one skidoo for every man, woman and child that lives here. So there's about 2,500 people that live here, and about 2,400 skidoos. And there's also 3,000 polar bears. And a couple of interesting facts about Svalbard. You're not allowed to have a baby on Svalbard. You have to go across to the mainland when you're about 6 months, just because they haven't got the facility here in the hospital. Well, it's not really a hospital. And you're not allowed to die here. And as Hannah said, what if you die accidentally? Well, that's a very good point, Hannah. But your body's then shipped out to the mainland. You're not allowed to be buried here. And that's because of the concerns about nasty things leaking out into the water table. There's the water table just there. And there's not actually much water here at all, but the ground is in permafrost, which means it's permanently frozen just below the bit that you can see here. And they've recently discovered that the 1918 flu epidemic victims who are buried here haven't decayed or decomposed at all. Sorry, you're having your breakfast. And they're worried about the nasties leaking out from that and the virus actually getting hold of the town. So nobody's likely to be buried here anymore, in case they have some nasty. Over there is the centre, which I'll take you to in just a second. But I want you to see these little houses. Aren't they cute? There's only certain colours are allowed to paint in houses to make sure that they retain the look of Longyearbyen. But I think it's absolutely beautiful. This lovely blue, and it's a bit kind of foreign born, isn't it? But a bit Georgian. They're absolutely lovely colours, and they blend in. And when you're flying into the airport, they look beautiful. And then here we are this is the centre of Longyearbyen. There's the library. So they actually have loads and loads of things here. It's a really good infrastructure. They've got a massive co-op. It's about the size of Booths in Windermere. It's absolutely huge, and it is a bit pricey, but it's not like ridiculously pricey. You probably pay twice as much, say, for a banana as you would in Windermere, and Booths bananas are pretty expensive anyway. But that's because they have to import it by air, so that's fair. Canned goods and stuff are just a little bit more expensive because they come in by container. So yeah, there's the library. I'm going to have a look in there today. I'm not allowed to read anything. And then this is the centre of Longyearbyen. So Longyearbyen means Longyear town, and I had all kinds of fancy notions about how Longyear, because it's a long year, because it's the winter night and all the rest of it. But no, it's because a person called John Longyear founded the town, and he was an American. And over the years, the archipelago of Svalbard has been claimed by lots of different countries, including when John came over, he claimed it as American. It's been claimed as Danish, but it is fairly independent now, apparently. But it is ruled by Norway. But I've been told they've got their own budgets and their own financial independence to a large extent, although they have or had 7 mines here, coal mines, and the last mine, mine number 7, is the only one still open, and they're trying to decommission it now because the Norwegian government said that they're not going to support and subsidise Svalbard's mining economy any longer, because they were apparently spending millions and millions of kroner a year on it. So these guys are out here doing a great job of laying a new town square, and this is a new statue to a miner. I might have to look at it when I get back. There you go. A Groover bus, and that's him. I don't know if there's a specific miner in mind or whether that's just like to all miners. Those of you who know me know I'm a massive fan of Arc'teryx. Well, I'm in the right place. I feel like I'm in the Arc'teryx capital of the world here. They've either got loads of money or Arc'teryx is the only brand to wear here. I favour the latter. I found one beautiful jacket in a big shop here for £850. I think not this time. And then this is the co-op. Hey John, this is the massive co-op here. I mean, it's huge. For 2,500 population, I think that's pretty impressive, really. And I can't see the tourists really using it. Is it there? So here we are in the centre of Longyearbyen with this beautiful sunrise. I was really hoping to catch the aurora, but it's not that strong in September and October. It gets much stronger towards the end of October, but then there's no daylight. And I was trying to come in the middle of those 2 times. I have seen the Northern Lights before. I've been very lucky to see them. And we've actually named our boat after the Northern Lights, Phil and I, because, well, I don't think he's seen them actually, but they are a spectacular sight to see. But I've been told to come back in February. Apparently that's the time to come back to see the Northern Lights. So the coming February, which is 2022, my granddaughter is going to be born. So I'm not going to be doing anything in February other than cuddling my granddaughter. I'm just see inside there. Look, it's very well stocked. That could actually be booze. There's a helicopter just setting off. There's a lot of movement around. Can't actually see it now. With helicopters, I think they're finding it easier, or they find it easier to move stuff up and down the mountains using helicopters rather than quads. There's quads everywhere, but they're using helicopters to take stuff from one place to another. In fact, I took a video of it yesterday to show Noah and send it to him. It's probably a bit windy here, is it? There you go. There's the helicopter. I know you've all seen a helicopter before, but there you go. So he starts about 7 o'clock in the morning, just behind my hotel, and goes up and down. I don't know where he's going or what he's doing. He goes up to that mountain there, drops something off, picks something up, and comes back down again. It looks like he's taking stuff up that looks like beams and bringing stuff back that looks like sort of ton sacks. So I don't know whether they're decommissioning or building or what. God, it's cold. So it's about 3 degrees, but there's a wind chill that brings it down to about, or just below freezing, I would say. I want to show you this shop as well. Can I still turn it around though? No, I'll have to just hold it now, sorry, because I've got my gloves on. Oh, it's really cold. So this shop here is like a little tourist shop. I think it's called, obviously I don't speak German, but I think that's Skin and Bone. That's a good guess, I know. So there's an actual polar bear there. I could go and buy some little wooden polar bears. I am tempted, but it's that kind of tap that you get home and then you regret, don't you? And then look at these. These are so sad. These Arctic wolves, and they are real. I'm sure they're real. It's so sad. I could see the price of them yesterday. I think it's at £1,000. That's so sad. And you see there's a helicopter. I don't know what he's doing. Maybe he's just out for a jolly. And that's probably all I can tell you really about Svalbard and Longyearbyen. I'm having an amazing time here. It's not for everybody. That sky, look at that sky. Something else I thought of yesterday that I think is interesting, but I do think a lot of things are interesting that probably nobody else does. is that because there's lots of people here from lots of different parts of the world, mainly Europe, but also, sorry, that helicopter's really loud. Also, other parts of the world as well, like New Zealand, Australia, South Africa. I've not met anybody from America yet, but it's probably the only major country that I haven't met anybody from. It seems to be something that people want to do when they're maybe in their 20s or 30s. They want to come and work on Svalbard for a period of time and then go home again. It's like it's part of their kind of, I don't know, gap years or whatever. So you're allowed to stay here for 8 years, which is pretty generous. But most people stay here for 2 or less. And some people don't actually make it through the winter. They just come for the summers, albeit the summers are only about 7 degrees. But they've come to generally work in the hospitality industry, in the hotels, and in the, the guiding and dog sledding and all that kind of stuff. But also there's a massive research population here, students of all ages, not just sort of 20-year-old students. Literally, there's lots and lots of researchers here. That helicopter's really noisy. What it's doing. Because there's at least 3 major universities here. I don't mean the whole university, but a campus from the university. So out of the 2,500 population, about a third of them are students. That's really noisy, isn't it? And they come over here to research things like global warming, of course, and the reduction of the glaciers. There's glaciers everywhere around here. And the temperature of the Earth. They've worked out that over the last 50 years, the temperature of Svalbard has gone up on average by 7 degrees, which is getting to a very dangerous point for polar bears and some of the other wildlife. The polar bears live over on the east side of the island, and we're on the west, which is where the populace is. And on the east is much colder. Jeez. Okay, there you go. There's my little helicopter. Can you keep it down a bit, please? Saturday morning. Who does this on a Sunday morning as well? Quite popular with the locals, can they? Hi, Louise. So the interesting thing about the fact that everybody's from a different place is that nobody speaks Norwegian here. Everybody speaks English because it's the only common language. And so you hear people of 2 different nationalities talking to each other, and they're talking to each other in English. And it's quite funny to hear because you don't really know what their main language is, so they just kind of talk to each other in this pidgin English because both of them know a little bit. So I don't know any Norwegian at all, I'm afraid, apart from hi, which is how you say hello. I don't know why they say it twice. Oh, look, there he is. Look, he's landing up there. I don't know if you can see that. You probably can't. There's some kind of, I don't know what it is up there that he's doing. What else did I want to tell you? Oh, yeah, so just comparatively speaking, the islands as a whole, the archipelago, of which there is only really one big landmass, and the rest of it is very fragmented. But the main landmass itself is the size of Ireland. It's about 90% the size of Ireland, so it's almost the size of Ireland. But if you're local to Windermere, it's probably got the population of Staveley in Longyearbyen, and that's it. There's hardly anybody who lives here. We got quite away, so I don't wake people up. So imagine the place the size. So it must have been like Ireland, like thousands of years ago, where you only had the little settlement in Dublin, nothing else. I think that's pretty interesting. The lowest temperature ever recorded here was at the airport in 1986, and it was minus 46 centigrade. Feels about that now, I'll be honest. I'll turn it around so you can see the beautiful view. Look at that. There's the helicopter coming back. Molly, if you're watching this, show this to Noah, because he'll like this. Must be quite fun being a helicopter pilot on Svalbard. He turns round, he seems to spend ages turning around. Look what he's doing now. Look. No, he's following me. What else can I tell you? In about 10 years ago, they tried to bring over a new breed. Sorry, it's really loud. I'll just let him land. I'll give you a bit of scenery in the meantime. Whether he's turning his lanes off or not. I think he is, yeah. Phew. Yeah, so about 10 years ago, they tried to bring in a new breed of animal into Iceland, primarily as meat, because they've got so many dogs here. They've literally got tens of thousands of dogs, the dog setting, that they didn't have enough meat to give to the dogs, and they don't want to keep importing meat in tins, which is what they were doing. Hang on, sorry. So they try and find meat locally. So I'm put my glove on. Sorry. Oh God, my fingers are freezing. Uh, uh, I've got my hand in. Never mind. And so they decided to. At the moment they give the dogs whale meat. They're allowed to kill minke whales for their meat and their blubber, which is what keeps the dogs insulated, and also seals as well. But the dog sled guy was telling me that dogs don't really like seals and whales, so they have to give them from a very, very early age to try and help them develop a taste for it. But they tried to bring in the musk ox, which is that massive, hairy, buffalo-looking thing. Looks like something out of Ice Age. And tried to integrate that here because the musk ox is native to Greenland, and they thought the vegetation and the temperate climate, the climate was very similar, but it didn't survive, unfortunately. So dog sled dogs don't eat musk ox because there aren't any. They do eat reindeer as well. That's another one that they eat. There's lots and lots of herds of reindeer here. They range around a little bit like cows here, although I haven't seen any. I saw lots when I was in northern Norway, but I haven't seen any here. And that's, I think, all the things I was going to tell you. I don't know if you found it interesting or not. It's a little bit like David Attenborough on a Saturday morning. David Attenborough's a lot better at it. But I'm going to go for a breakfast because I was going out for a run, but then I got distracted by talking to you guys. So I hope that's been interesting. For those of you who are thinking about going somewhere like Svalbard, I've done it again. I would tell you, in no uncertain terms, to talk to my friend Sharon Matthews, who is my absolute right-hand girl when it comes to booking trips like this. I wouldn't have had the confidence to know how to book it, where to fly from, what the current regulations are and all that kind of rubbish. So Sharon Matthews from Travel Counsellors is amazing, and she would help you with every aspect, which she does me. She messages me regularly and tells me when I've got to go and order my COVID test and all those kind of things. And last time I was here, had my passport stolen in Tromsø, and she helped sort that out for me with the embassy and everything. She's just absolutely amazing. So can't recommend her enough. Do talk to her if you're planning on an unusual trip, and even if you're not, if you're planning on a standard trip. So I'll leave you, hey George, leave you with one last look of the mountains of Svalbard. Isn't that absolutely breathtaking? And I'm off for breakfast, so have a great Saturday.